If you are just getting started with homeschooling, well, there are 5 things you definitely need to know and you will want to include in your home. There are so many considerations that you want to take into account when you first start homeschooling. So let's simplify this a little bit and pare it down to the top 5 things that you want to consider and start out by knowing and doing in your home to make sure that this transition is really smooth, really simplified, and it makes you teach from a place that is natural and intuitive. If we haven't met before, then welcome. My name is Natalie Burns, and you can find me over at homeschoolteachingsimplified.com. I support homeschooling moms to find freedom to reflect who you are as a family through the way that you teach, so that you can deepen your connection with your child. Because we do not want to be rubbing up against our children as we are teaching. We want to make sure that this homeschooling experience really brings us together relationally. So these top 5 tips are really going to hone in on that connection between you and your child and the connection that they have with their own learning. What are we waiting for? Let's jump right in. Number 1 is to not necessarily start with curriculum. You heard me. Do not jump into that curriculum you bought just yet. Take some time to really foster that connection with your child through experiential learning. So go outside together and observe what you find around you, the plants, the animals, the weather. Even if they're older, take that time to really connect with the 5 senses and do that side by side as a shared experience. Take time to play games, watch movies, documentaries. Take that time to really get your mind in the right place and allow your child to get their mind in the right place, because we don't want to set out homeschooling where it's really just the traditional school model at home. Yes, there is a difference between homeschooling and school at home. If you are starting out with a child in kindergarten or grade 1, then you definitely really want to make this a huge focus of your homeschooling time together. And if it is your first year homeschooling and you have older children, you still want to start with this experiential and relational aspect before you dig into the books. Speaking of books, that leads us to number 2, and that is to not necessarily start your curriculum books from the beginning of the book. Now, for those that have already been homeschooling for a while, they have gotten to a nice rhythm and flow, and they know where their child is at moving forward. So they know if they finished level 1 that they will be going on to level 2. However, if you are bringing your child home from a traditional school setting, then their school books may not match up with the curriculum that you purchased for your homeschool. Take, for example, that I love the Rod and Staff curriculum for my family. This Rod and Staff curriculum actually ends at grade 10, not grade 12. So that means that the learning is actually a little bit accelerated to be completed in a faster time period. For my child that is currently starting grade 3, this means that where they're at in their grade 3 curriculum doesn't necessarily match up with the traditional school children starting grade 3. So your child moving to a homeschool curriculum book may not match up with where they were at before. Meet them where they are at right now. Take some time to assess where they are at. Do they know what is going on? Do a quick review of previous work. Maybe you even need to jump ahead in the curriculum book and start right in the middle because they already know all that beginning stuff. You have the freedom and the autonomy to assess your child for what they know, what they don't know, and then to trust your judgment on that, trust that assessment that you made, and use that information to bring your child from where they are now to a further ahead place. One of the biggest pushbacks that we have as homeschooling moms, and especially as new homeschooling moms, is the expectation that others place on us about what our role is or what we're able to do. So if you need permission, then let me give you permission right now. You have the freedom to assess your child because you know them best. You know what they are capable of, and you know their strengths and weaknesses. And so when you allow your child to start to get to know how to self-assess as well, then you can help them move forward step by step. Tip number 3 is to know your homeschooling purpose. Most of us start off with the why. Why are we homeschooling? And this is a very important place to start, to know why you are choosing to do what you're doing. However, your purpose really gets deeper than just the why. Your purpose actually is what drives how you go about the teaching and learning in your home. You need to know what your values are and what your child's values are and what the family values are. What do you want and what do you love to do and how do you love to go about things and how does your child enjoy learning and how do they tend to think and process information? Then once you've understood all of those little nuances of how you each work, you start to look for how you as individuals can come in harmony with one another. And that's where you start to write your homeschooling purpose. This is a dynamic statement. It changes every year because hopefully you continue to grow and change every year, and your child continues to grow and change every year. This purpose will not only include that why and the how, but it will drive all of your decisions moving forward. Decisions about what curriculum you choose, how many hours a week you homeschool, what time of the day you homeschool, where you homeschool. This is a very important foundational aspect to starting out your homeschool. The next tip, number 4, is to find like-minded community. I'm talking about other moms that have similar drive and purpose as you do. They share similar values. Maybe they even have children in close age ranges to yours. Other moms that care about connecting with their children. Maybe if you are a working homeschool mom, you find other working homeschool moms that also understand those unique aspects of that juggle. Finding community is not only important for our children to see that there are others out there that also really value this kind of educational model. It's also important for you, mama. All of us women need that community connection and support. So whether that be locally or whether that be online, make sure that you take the time to plug in and find your people. If this sounds like something that you're interested in, then I invite you to join us by hitting that subscribe button so that YouTube knows you're interested in these videos, and we'll show you when the next one comes out and we can start interacting here a little bit more. I would love to get to know you better. And tip number 5 is kind of along the same lines in that it extends to your personal growth. Find a source that can be a support for you as you are growing on this journey. Homeschooling is very challenging for children because they are learning and growing, and this is a stretching process, and it draws out a lot of fears around doing new things that may be really difficult for them. It's also going to stretch you. And one of the things that I've noticed with my previous history as a high school teacher and a home learning support teacher for elementary school is that teaching other children is way different than teaching our own children. And this is because our children actually are a mirror for us for what those deep rooted fears are. So when we see our children pushing back against their learning, it can trigger in us those same reactions and those same fears that we didn't even know were buried back there in our experiences with learning. So it's very important that we have the support that we need as moms through finding some sort of guidance for that personal growth process to understand what it's like and what it's going to be like and how you can overcome these pushback obstacles so that you don't need to fight with your children during the learning time, so that you can understand them and have grace for them and have grace for yourself for what that looks like in your life. I mentioned about others' expectations on us. There is no more judgment here because really, there's no right or wrong way to homeschool. This is about identifying what your values are and how you want to go about doing things, and then to find support to allow you to actually put that into action in your home. If you haven't guessed, this is what I do here. I support homeschooling moms. So if you are looking for more support in how you go about your teaching, I would be so happy to walk alongside you and join you on this process. The first place that you may want to get started is with a free workshop that I have. You can visit homeschoolteachingsimplified.com/free workshop to learn more about 3 secrets to revamp your homeschool approach and unlock deeper connection with your child. I would love to have you join us there. In the meantime, I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.